Another week of madness at Watford Football Club. This week we're asset stripping. We're sending Ryan Porteous on loan to Preston. Just what is going on? Luckily, we've got Rio and Luke with us this week to help us understand it all. We're talking about the Norwich Dark Arts, just what was going on in that game. Looking at Watford's February fixtures and looking ahead at just what's to come. We're doing our January Player of the Month award and completing our Worst Ever Watford 11. Thank you very much for joining us. We're delighted to have you with us on episode 27 of Where Hornets Walk. And I hope sometimes we can talk about things positively, but every week, guys, we seem to just be unpicking another disaster from your club. As a neutral, I can smile about it, but it's not getting funnier, is it, Rio? What's going on?
All these Amazon documentaries about Arsenal, there's one on Tottenham. They should do one on Watford because it's an absolute circus at the minute. I mean, first of all, we mentioned the other week about Tikvich being loaned out when we didn't even know we bought him in the first place, etc. Multiple deals, Bio signing the day after he signed for Charolais. They made a $4 million profit on him. But no, it's not getting any better for us. I think that's 6 defeats and 8 now. And obviously, as we'll get on to later with the next few fixtures, I can't see it getting any better. And this bad run just highlights how much we need players and players that aren't injured for starters, like we bought today.
We are recording this before the transfer window closes. So next week, of course, we'll do a full kind of look back on that. But if you are furious and as mad as these two are with what's going on at Watford, do drop us a subscribe below and do drop us a like as well, because it is crazy. I couldn't believe this one, Luke, when I saw it. I was coming in from work, actually. It's on Monday. So Ryan Porteous, who, okay, I mean, if I call him an average Championship defender, I hope I'm not being discourteous there, but he's joined Preston on loan till the end of the season. And, you know, the most polite response we had there was from the Watford FC Buzz podcast, which is another great follow if you don't do already. It's baffling. Luke, any other words for it?
Yeah, it just came up on my phone and I went, hang about. Because I saw sort of like reports on it earlier, but I sort of took it as a pinch of salt. I thought that won't happen because we're not that stupid. And I think this month, for me, has shown how much of a poorly run football club that we truly are. With all the Cleverly stuff and, you know, that actually was going to go through with all the rumours. But how poor this window has been, where the position in the league is going well. And it's clear that we need a depth, especially with the injuries that we had in the middle of the month. And we just haven't done anything. Again, since last week, we brought the Udinese sign in again, 1.7 million, the good old Pozzo switcheroo of the bank accounts. It just shows how badly run we are. The Porteous one is truly just baffling because I don't know what the reason is for to give him to Preston as well. And who knows, the way they're going, they'll probably end up finishing above us. So we've technically gave him to a better side and he'll get more game time for them as well. And it's, again, if we have one or two injuries, especially in the centre half position, we'll be thinking, oh, well, we should have Porteous. It will be one of those that will stab us in the back. But it does seem like it's something to do with the financials are not right. And that's what we've done, just to offload a bit more extra cash. But I don't know what's extra cash freeze for this new Chelsea left back who is not even going to play till March anyway. It is really, really, really baffling and just shows how poorly run we've been as a football club this month.
Cheers for Luke. Rio, what did you make of his statement? I'll just read a bit of it here. It said, "I think I'm at the age I am now. I need a consistent run of games," that's fair enough, "and a healthy environment. I feel that Preston can provide that right now." What's he saying there, but reading between the lines?
That's very telling. Healthy environment. I mean, he joined, 2023? And if I'm not mistaken, he's had about 4 managers since then, which is not that many considering what other players at the club have had. I remember Sarr was there for a few years and he had about 10. But it's just a very unstable environment. Players going left, right and centre. Managers going. Backroom staff even switching about positions now. And it's quite telling he said that because it's not the first person. I mean, on the Fozcast, Andre Gray with Ben Foster was saying how there's so many egos in the dressing room and you just didn't really enjoy it. And I can see why it doesn't look a healthy environment from the outside, especially how we've fallen from a few years ago when we were in the Premier League for 5 years in a row. And on that note, I can see why teams don't loan us their players, especially after the Jefferson situation and multiple other loans which didn't work out. I mean, in the summer we bought 12 players, I think, 4 of which aren't at the club anymore. So it shows that apart from the odd gem or two, like Spria, Vata, we can't really develop players if they're only here for a short amount of time.
Yeah, it doesn't. His comments don't help cleverly much, though, Luke, do they? Healthy environment suggests that something is a little bit off in the dressing room, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think I don't know if I'm at the end of the day, we're not behind closed doors, but with what we've been hearing around with Cleverly and this new gaffer, which apparently was all going to happen, and then the work permit all went, that could potentially be it. But I've always heard things that the culture at the club, it's not that great to be in because of how much, well, for starters, how much managerial changes there are. So there's never really a full project that all the players are really going to be sold, and that's probably why we have so many ins and outs in terms of players and managers. I kind of get what he says, to be fair, because it does sound like as much of a circus as it does from us on the outside without being the inside. There's probably so much more information we do not know. And if he feels like that's what he wants to do, or fair play, and it's a message to us, really. That's the first I've actually heard of it, because I've been at work all day as well. That is, it's quite telling, especially when he was a regular starter for us for the last probably year and a bit.
Yeah.
Crazy. Thanks for that, Luke. Before we get and talk about Norwich, we want your help for the end of the video, please. Of course, we're finishing off our Worst Ever Watford 11, so we want to know what's the worst ever midfielder that we've signed. So drop us a comment there, and then we'll read some of these out next week. Worst ever midfielder that you've seen. We haven't got Aaron with us this week, and if he was here, I'd be definitely directing this next question to him. But also, they've lost your king this week as well, as Ken Semmer announced his leaving the club. We will pick Aaron up on this last time, because he is a cult hero, and I know Aaron has met him on a couple of occasions and he's given him his shirt. Rio, yeah, what is so special about Ken? And I know he's done a lot of work outside of football with his raising awareness for adults with lisps and speech impediments. What does he mean to Watford from a footballing point of view?
Yeah, from a footballing point of view, obviously, as you said, he's an inspiration to people with speech impediments, because I don't know if you noticed that West Brom at home interview, which he did, where he announced he had to stammer. I mean, he's come on leaps and bounds of his speech from his farewell message, but on the pitch, he was the last member of the playing squad, apart from Cleverly, to be in that FA Cup semi-final team. That shows how much change we've had, and he's been a consistent. He always gives 100%. He knows, and we know he's not the best of players. He's a very one-footed, if I do say so myself. But he always gives 100%. He's a team player, and he's just got a massive smile on his face. That's what you can't fault about him. He's he just looks like he loves it, and I don't blame him for going to Paphos Harbour instead of Watford Town Centre. But it's the right time to move on from all parties, I think, because he hadn't been getting the team much lately, and I don't think he's worse than Lurucci at all, really. It's the right time to say goodbye, and I think he's a favourite from the fans' point of view and in the dressing room. That's why they call him King Can.
Yeah, absolutely. Remind me to mention it to Aaron next week when he returns. Right then, let's talk about Norwich. We know it's gone, but we review every single game here on Where Hornets Walk. Luke, here was the view of one particular very irate fan. Wendover Hunt says, 100% Norwich, they were the disgusting team whose theatrics and conning of the referee all afternoon was up there with the best that I've ever seen. And I don't know if you might have seen this from the Norwich admin. Some students leaving their dark arts classes. What was your view on the game? Was it as bad as those tweets make out?
No, I think usually I would spot something like that, but I think their time wasting was typical to what majority of the teams do. I didn't see anything too sort of over the top where dark arts is that word we've seen recently, but I thought the first some what fans go into this dark art stuff, but what about when we actually had the ball? That's how you win games and everything like that. But the first half we got absolutely battered, especially the first sort of 20 minutes. They could have been 3-4 up especially Sargent had a really good chance. Obviously, Sargent scored. I think we preempted it as well. He always gets it. He honestly turns into like prime Ronaldo every time he plays us. He's so good every time he plays us. And yeah, we got absolutely battered that first half. The red card was silly. Don't get me wrong, it's probably not a red card, but if you've got no VAR, it's just not worth the risk of pushing the player anywhere. It's just not worth it, especially these little corner pushes which goes on. It really frustrates me. And yeah, I'm not arguing about it. At the end of the day, just don't take the risk. And second half, we looked a lot better. I was really pleased with how well we did under 10 men. But it was as if Norwich sort of pegged themselves back and thought, right, we're 1-0 up here. We can just sit and hold off. And we had no strike on. We had Kayembe up top until the last sort of 10, 15 minutes where we brought Dumby on, who didn't do much, but at the end of the day, he hasn't had enough game time or to prove to any Watford fan that he's good enough to be able to come on and get a goal. I personally think Norwich were the better side, beat us in the first half and sat back, and their game plan in the second half worked wonders, and I think they were a deserving team.
I just wanted to add on about the dark arts. About obviously Norwich have quite a few very experienced Championship players, and I can't name many off the top of my head, but Shane Duff is one of them. And cleverly said in one of his pre-match interviews a few weeks ago now that he wanted experienced Championship players this window. And how many have we signed, Mark? Absolutely none.
That's what me and my friends say every single window, Rio. We say, like, instead of all these randomers from other countries, you need players who are proven in the Championship or even just proven in League One, just with the football knowledge. The League One to Championship can be a big step, but at least they're proven. And that's what teams who do better in the Championship do. They have players who are suited to the league. And yeah, like Shane Duffy, he's a really good centre-half. And we haven't got anyone like that.
When we do sign experienced players, it's Sissoko, Ogbonna, Tom Ince.
Too much experience.
Exactly, who are like mid-30s. Like someone in like 28, 29 who's maybe getting on a bit, but they're still good for another couple of years.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's have a look at some of the final takes on that game. David was very positive. He said, "We may have lost, but I'm really proud of the Watford boys today. It was a brave fighting performance from the 10-man team in the second half, playing great, exciting attacking football, chasing everything. Keep that fighting spirit and the better days are ahead." Rich says it was a terrible refereeing all game, but kind of understand the red card decision. The fact we only lost 1-0 says more about Norwich than it does about Watford. Rio, do you agree with everything on there?
Oh, 100% agree. I don't think Norwich were actually very good, to be honest. I mean, they really wanted to go for it. Could have scored 3 or 4 because, 10 men. We actually looked better without Bayo up front. Kayembe did all right, but I didn't think they were that good. They could have easily killed the game off. And yeah, we got into Chavidazzi had a couple of big chances where just like, shoot, for goodness sake, we could have scored. It's just teams around us were losing to, and ultimately, considering how thin our squad is, how lack of investment, I don't think we are favourites in many more games this season. I mean, I do think we will win 3 more games to stay up, obviously, but I can't point out where. As cleverly said, apart from the top 4 teams, the other 20 can beat anyone, and I think that's very proven.
Yeah. I mean, the table's weird, isn't it? You are 12th, which sounds like you're a million miles away, but you're only 3 points off 6. It's just how mad it is.
We've picked up like 4 points from like in 7, 8 games. It's not good at all yet. We're 3 points off playoffs. No one's consistent, but we're also 4 points off 16th, so could very quickly go downhill.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said. Let's have a look at what's to come then in February, shall we? Before we do that, do drop us a like if you haven't yet done so. Right then, so 4 games left in February, 2 at home and 2 away. Some big fixtures here. You've got a right run this month, haven't you? Of course, it ends with that lot. Gosh, is it conceivable, Luke, that you get to that Luton game and you haven't picked up a point from the other 3?
Yeah, 100%. Honestly, I'm not really looking forward to this month for football, to be honest with you. I really am worried. I really think we're going to go in a downward spiral now. Don't get me wrong, we're playing really good sides. Sunderland are a really good side at home. Leeds are by far the best team in the Championship in terms of watching them and also scoring. I really think that will be a big score, that one. I think Leeds will beat us about 3-4-0, depending on how we do at Sunderland. Middlesbrough, we never do well there. We've really struggled there. And, I would only take the 3 points against Luton, of course. I would be chuffed with 3 points at the end of the month, and it's just against them. Honestly, I really don't fancy us against any of those other 3 games. beforehand. Let's just rest everyone until Luton. But that realistically, I think for most Watford fans, with how the month's been, as long as we just beat Luton in those run of 4 games, I think we'd be quite chuffed.
That sounds mad, isn't it? That you don't mind 3 straight.
I'm just trying to be realistic. Some Watford fans might say, "Oh, I'll take 6 or 7, get a win there," but we've just got to be realistic, and we're not going to get any points in those games. And if it is, it's a little bonus, and let's just get that 3 points against them lot.
And you see Middlesbrough signing players like Illing Jr. I mean, Sunderland are linked with Adingra, who's one of Brighton's first choice wingers, and they're also after Adam Armstrong, who hit 28 goals in a season for Blackburn, and Jayden Dans. I mean, I don't get why we're not looking at him, or Lancashire, who went to West Brom. They've just got so much more talent and better recruitment than ours. End of.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, Sunderland are a bit dodgy against Plymouth, and you did have a good game against them, didn't you? You won, didn't you? Back in Norwich. Yeah. So yeah.
I do fancy a sneaker result, but we could easily get battered on this. Yeah.
Okay. All right. January's over now, so we also need your January player of the month. As you know, we do things a little bit different here. We try and pick the player that hasn't had the flowers from other votes. So, Luke, can you get this one off?
Yeah, 2 in between Pollock and Vata. It's going to be Vata again. I think just on the base of how much we paid for him again, I always think, oh my God, we only paid like 50k for him. He has been brilliant. How well he played against Fulham, against one of our stronger sides as well, near enough a full strength Premier League mid-table sides. I thought he played well, scored a brilliant goal, and he looks really good when he's on the pitch. It's a real shame, but at the moment when Barr's injured, we've got to play him on the right when he's available, but he links up really well on that left side with Georgie, which I don't know if Cleverly notices at all, but I really think if them two play together, Vata can even go to more better things, and also the same for Georgie. But my player of the month goes to Vata.
Well, cheers, Rio.
Yeah, I'm happy you asked Luke first because of how we had such a depressing January. I wasn't sure who it actually was, but I think Potter was very good on the weekend, very good. But it has to be Vattery. Has he scored more than 2 goals? I'm not sure, but he scored a worldie v Fulham and another great goal v Preston. And I think although he did score 2 great goals in that, his best performance was in our only win of the month against Derby. He was very good on the ball. His work rate as well was unbelievable. I mean, you wouldn't see that tracking back from players over the years who played for us. And yeah, it's just so good to have that energy. And the fact that we signed him for 200k, which is mental. And obviously he was playing for Celtic in the Highland Lowland League. Never played men's football before, and the quality of there is way below the Championship. So the fact he's made this step up, albeit maybe not physically yet, I mean, I'm excited to see what he can go on to throughout his time with us, hopefully next year as well.
Well, all right, that wraps it up then. Thank you very much, you two. Before we finish, we have been making the universe's worst Watford 11. Last 20 years anyway. These two and Aaron have done pretty well with this one. We've just got the midfield to fill in now. So again, put in your comments below who should be on this one. We've got 2 each. Hopefully, Luke, what have you got for us?
I've got 2. So my first one, I'm going to go as Ozan Tufan. He was shocking for us, absolutely shocking, and obviously scored when he came back. He was just really lazy, no offense to him, but he was really overweight when he was playing for us. You could tell he was really unfit for especially midfielder. It was quite a hard watch really when he was playing, because you could tell he just weren't at the level. But yeah, goes to Hull and he turned into quite a decent little player, which is very, very Watford-like. The other one in between is another sort of long one ago was Gerardo. Was a sort of left mid player. I really liked him when he first joined, but he just never got into anything, and he was really disappointed for how much we paid for him that season. So I'm going to go for Gerardo, but I also was between. I couldn't really go for it, but I was going to go for this current stint of Sissoko. He has been terrible, but his overall as a player, he's been good. He's a Euros winner. He's won a lot. He's been brilliant, but his legs are going now. Like that Jamie Carragher saying, he said about Casemiro, leave the football before the football leaves you. That is Sissoko at the moment, but I'm not gonna put him in. But if he carries on like it, he would probably go at the end of the season. But yeah, my two are Tufan and Jose Manuel Gerardo.
All right, some good shots there. Thank you, Luke. Rio.
Luke completely stole my names there. Tufan, yeah, obviously he did all right for Hull. Scored a couple of times for us and missed a penalty as well. But he just wasn't up to it physically. Soko's up there. I generally can't. Wingers are usually our strong point. Actually, we've had quite a few players from there, especially from South America. That's the one thing you could say is good about the Pozzos. What's left? Another centre mid and left wing. Ooh. Can we go for a stint of a player rather than a player overall?
Yeah, don't worry about the positions of them. Let's just stick
right.
forward.
I think Sissoko has to be up there. And Luke, do you have any more ideas for left wing? I'm a bit stuck personally.
Nah, we can play Gerrard on the left side. We'll stick Sissoko in the middle since we both said it.
Oh, is this 2 centre mids rather than wingers and midfielders?
You do whatever you want.
Oh,
do
two
whatever you want. Yeah.
Sissoko and 2 fan personally.
Okay. Help them out in the comments if they've missed anyone. I can hear you all screaming now again. What about this? Cheers for that. Cheers for that, fellas. Right, join us next week then. It's Valentine's week next week, so we'll be asking these two and Aaron how they first fell in love with Watford and get their views on who's to blame for this life of torture which they now lead. So join us for that. Also, we'll be interested to hear your stories as well. So put them in the comments. What age were you when you first fell in love with Watford? What was your first game? All right, cheers for that. Thanks, Rio. Thanks, Luke. Enjoy the games this weekend, and we'll see you in 7 days' time. Thanks for watching.